What's going on, everybody? ChromeOnRust here. So how rare are the rarest legendaries in Diablo 3? Well, that's the question that I had for myself, and I wanted it to be, well, answered. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. We're going to be taking a look at patch 2.1.1, which is the current patch that we're in. In addition to that, we're going to be taking a look at the future patch 2.1.2. Well, because things are going to be getting shaken up a little bit, the most rare legendaries are going to be slightly easier to find. But also in patch 2.1.2, ancient legendaries are going to be introduced, and that means that they are going to be really rare. The ancient legendaries are going to be more rare than the rarest legendaries that we have currently. So if you think it's hard to find like a Furnace, your Tasker and Theos, your Witching Hour, finding an ancient version is going to be extremely hard, and how many times more rare are those is what we're going to set out to find. So I have a little clip that I want to play for you where the Diablo devs in their legendary workshop actually talked about their base legendary drop rate. Well, because things got data mined and the information's out there, and so they actually openly talked about it. Thought it was pretty interesting to actually get confirmation that this is what's going on. So I'm going to play that clip for you right now.
Let's see. Rectlel asks, can you give us some feedback on the rarest legendaries in the game and how much easier they're going to get now?
We use drop weights to determine rarity of items. The data is all out there, so I can openly talk about it. Some people data mine our spreadsheets, but items drop in the game at a drop weight of 100, 50, or 10 pre-212, which meant the most common legendaries were 10 times as common as the rarest, which are things like Star Metal and Furnace. We made all those 10s 25s. They're 2.5 times less rare. However, because we keep adding items into the pool, they will, because of that, be slightly more rare. So a little bit less than 2.5 times less rare. And that's because, our philosophy has changed a little bit about making sure you have that item that you want to chase into more like, we want you to eventually have the build defining items, but we're going to hope that you're going to look for ancient versions or better role versions or whatever.
So in my opinion, some really interesting things were said in the video. Now the base drop rate, as he said, is 100, 50, and 10 in patch 2.1.1, which is the current patch that we're in. So our commons are going to be dropping. We're going to use the number 1 for this example. That's our whole number. Anything less than that means that it's going to be more rare than our commons. Our commons are things like Gladiator Gauntlets. You're gambling for those Tasker and Theos. You see Gladiator Gauntlets pretty much every round of gamble, it feels. Those are your common items. Semi-rares are going to be more like your set items. You're not quite finding them as often as some legendaries, but they're still, dropping at a pretty good rate. Those are going to be 0.5, and then the most rare in the current patch that we're in is going to be 0.1. Now in patch 2.1.2, as he said, things are going to be changing a little bit. Commons still going to be dropping at that rate of 1. Semi-rares are still going to be at 0.5, but the most rares going to be dropping 2.5 times more often, which is going to be a rate of 0.25. Now, for ancient legendaries, we're going to get into a little bit more numbers, kind of clarify what all this means here in just a second, so don't worry about it. Ancient legendaries in Torment 6 are going to be dropping 10% of the time that you would find your normal legendaries. So let's say you find Tasker and Theos. We'll just use that example. Tasker and Theos, every 10 of them is going to be an ancient legendary. Now commons are going to be dropping at a rate of 0.1. Semi-rares are going to be dropping at a rate of 0.05, and then the most rares, like your Star Metals, your Furnaces, your Tasker and Theos, your Witching Hours are going to be dropping at the rate of 0.025. Now this is X times more rare than common legendaries, so if it's 5 times more rare, 10 times more rare, that's what we're going to be looking at. Well, common items, what do you know, are 1 times more rare than your common legendaries. Semi-rares though are twice as rare, so like your set items and things like that, and in our current patch they are 10 times more rare than your common legendaries, your Taskers, your Witching Hour, yada yada yada. Now in patch 2.1.2 though, commons still going to be staying at that same rate of 1, semi-rares staying at that same rate of 2, but rares, slightly easier to find now, are going to be dropping it 4 times more rare than your common items. So going from 10 times more rare to only 4 times more rare is like, wow, you're going to be finding these things a lot more often than you were currently able to in the new patch that's going to be coming out. Now, ancient legendaries, on the other hand, and for like the end game players, all these other stats really aren't going to be mattering too much. They're really worried about the ancient legendaries. They want the best of the best, but how many times more rare are they than the common items? Well, this is going to be 10, or the same times or 10 times more rare than common items, which is 10 times the same number as our rarest legendaries now. So common ancients are going to be dropping at the same rate of our most rare legendaries right now. So they're going to be pretty hard to find. Semi-rares, on the other hand, are going to be dropping 20 times less often than common legendaries. And then when we want to go over to our star metals, our furnaces, our Tasker Theos, our witching hours, going to be dropping 40 times less often than our most common legendaries right now, where our rarest legendaries currently are 10 times more rare, which seems pretty extreme. When you're hunting for that really uber gear, 10 times more rare seems pretty rare. You don't come across them very often, and then you have to get good stats. But if you want to find an ancient version, it's going to be 40 times more rare. Pretty intense. As they said, it's for the end game players. I really haven't played a ton of the PTR, so I can't really say how the drop rates are playing out and how exactly I feel about the ancient legendaries, but I guarantee you, when patch 2.1.2 rolls out, I'm definitely going to be having an opinion. So that's all I had for this video. Just kind of wanted to take a look at these numbers. Was really interested to see just that. The numbers that I came up with here, I really wanted to check out, what exactly was going on with the most rare being ancient legendaries. Well, there you are. 40 times more rare than your common legendaries. So that's it for me. I am ChromeOnRust for Core Expert Gaming. I'm out of here. Like, subscribe if you would, and you all have a great day.